Year-old Paul Smith of West Bloomfield went into cardiac arrest and his spinal cord was severed in the accident this afternoon. Doctors first reported Smith had died after being taken off life support equipment, but he is alive tonight after being underwater for several minutes before rescue workers pulled him from the wreckage in the Detroit River.
His boat disintegrated, and this is my understanding that Paul Smith, the driver, flew out of the boat and hit the water pretty hard, and the boat basically is in bits and pieces. He is one of the new hot upcoming drivers in the Grand Prix series. Before being a driver in the Grand Prix, he was a driver in the drag boat series, but he moved up and he's been doing extremely well.
Smith, seen here on Thursday in video shot by viewer Ken Searsma, was traveling at about 130 miles per hour during a qualifying race. He was competing in a Grand Prix event for smaller boats. Now, the crafts that compete tomorrow at the Thunderfest are larger and faster, but they have safety features that, as you'll see, are designed to give drivers the best chance if the worst happens.
It was the first heat of Detroit Thunderfest. The time around 11 a.m. An amateur photographer was focused in on 42-year-old veteran racer Paul Smith. As Smith's boat Hydrophobia made the first turn, his Grand Prix was out of proportion and hit.
And when he did, the boat got up sideways and the air caught it and it barrel rolled.
Thousands watched as Smith's boat cracked up. After the accident, around 11:30 a.m., he was immediately transported to Detroit Receiving Hospital by chopper. His racing crew followed with a police escort.
He had a full cardiac arrest. He was resuscitated, but his injuries were such that, you know, he could not sustain life.
But hours later, it was determined Smith was still alive, in critical condition, still breathing with a severed spine. Smith's boat was destroyed, however. This afternoon, his crew tied up what remained of Hydrophobia. Family and friends stood in shock.
He was a great competitor, and you know the sad thing about it, Paul couldn't go to our first race last week because he was doing his son's graduation from high school, and that was Paul. I mean, he loved to come to the race. He said, hey, my kids come first.
Tonight in Paul Smith's West Bloomfield neighborhood, residents remember the man they admired and respected as a neighbor, a man they knew had a deep passion for boat racing.
Paul was a nice guy, and things like that shouldn't happen to people like that.
Many people videotaped the accident today and say it's a tragic scene they'll never forget.
I don't like it. Back in '61, I seen Bob Hayworth crash down here at Roost-Tail Turn. '66, Chuck Thompson. 1970, Colonel Warner Gardner. I don't like this at all.
Tonight, Paul Smith's driveway was filled with cars. Friends say he was a great competitor, and family has always come first to him. In West Bloomfield, Mike Amateur, TV2 Eyewitness News.
Paul Smith crashed his hydroplane one other time, and that was in Toledo, Ohio, back in 1988. And tragedy struck on the